I'm Anoushka, I'm 25 and I am a social media content creator. However, that title changes a lot. Some people ask me if I'm an Instagram model. Also, influencer is a common term that's used, but I think that is too narrow in terms of what I do. So I prefer content creator because I think there's a lot more that goes into it than just influencing people's decisions. A lot of time and effort goes into the content I create, and for me that is the main part of it. Once I post the picture, I'm not that fussed. Like, the focus for me is creating amazing content that I feel proud of. So I will usually do maybe 3 shoots a week. I will get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go out and shoot when it's nice and quiet on the streets. And a lot of work goes into that beforehand as well in terms of researching locations. So I usually am on Instagram for hours on end, scouring location tags, trying to find new displays as well, because my images are a lot about the background. I love big floral displays, and that's what my audience really responds to. So I'm really interested in colour, and for me that's the big sort of base point of where I sort of plan my content from, is what colour is going to go with this location, what sort of look do I want for this. A lot of planning goes into it, and I'll maybe shoot 4 or 5 different locations, different looks in a morning. So I've got to be really prepared and know exactly where I'm shooting, what shots I want before I even get to the location. I am a control freak and I love doing a bit of everything. So, you know, I love to edit, I love to shoot. So I taught myself photography, I've taught myself how to film and how to edit to film, graphic design, like styling, all of that I've taken partially from my degree and my background in fashion, and also just since I was a kid I've been tinkering on the computer, creating things. So for me, I love being able to do all of that, like create the images myself, have exactly like the art direction, the photography.
I'm just setting the shot, so preparing for exactly what I want in it, and then I can show it to my photographer and she can sort of try and replicate it. So I usually have a very specific picture in mind before I get to a location, and I've got to set the manual settings because I shoot everything with on manual.
And yeah, I love being able to do all of it and create it all. I try and keep a balance between content that I love for me, branded content that is specifically advertising content for a brand, and then content that I know that my audience really love. Brands always have strict briefs of how they want their product to look. In terms of if it's product placement, you know, they want to make sure it's clear, you can see the logo, things like that. As well, sometimes they don't want busy backgrounds, so it can be quite difficult to balance that with still creating an image that suits my feed and people will respond to. This is a problem I have with Instagram, actually, that I feel like people love a cliche. So you'd think be different, do something different, but often I find if I do content that's a bit different, people don't respond to it as well. I think partially because I have a lot of international followers, they want to see the iconic London shots or the prettiest pastel cafes. So that's the stuff they love, which is difficult. But then I think a good image at the end of the day is a good image, whether it's a cliche or not. So I try and bring things that are still iconic but maybe a slightly different take on it, or just even my editing style I think is quite unique to my images, because my photos are quite vibrant, quite colourful, which not that many feeds are. So I think of that as my mark. So people will often find my Instagram for the first time, they'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so colourful, so vibrant, and they really respond to that. So I think that is what makes me unique with my content. And also I'm the flower queen of London, and people always refer to me as that because I find all the floral displays. You need to be a competitive person to be on there. You need to really strive and want to make it. So many people think they can become an Instagram star. They think just post a bunch of selfies, bam, you know, they'll be making millions. But it's not like that. I was working very hard for years before I got to the stage where I am now, where I'm working full-time with brands. And it's so much more work than just taking a bunch of selfies. I think people, especially the older generation who haven't grown up with Instagram, still don't really understand it as a career. I still have relatives who are like, have you gotten a proper job yet? Which drives me crazy. But it is a business, and I do think of myself as running my own business, which is not a situation I expected to be in at the age of 25, but I'm not complaining. It sort of just happened. I did fall into doing it full time. I would just happen to be earning enough money that I was like, well, I'm just going to keep this going for as long as I can. For me, my content is a one-woman editorial. I am my own boss, I'm my art director, I'm the stylist, I'm the photographer, I'm creating the content I want, I'm creating images that come out of my head, and that is so amazing to be able to do that and do it full time for myself.